Previously on The Mind's Eye. A drug cartel enforcer is on call to show our diving expert the ropes on how to make friends with MS-13 levels of recruiting. I think I've satisfactorily insulted all races and ethnicities.
And the Dutch.
What? You son of a bitch.
What starts with a makeshift compass doing more spins than the mainstream media covering an election culminates as an in-your-face epiphany. Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
The Dutch.
What?
One by one, each member cancels their membership to the Suicide Squad in what can only be described as refusal to cross a border to rescue a Mexican. For shame. Just when they come across a captured Rastafari hung up because of a hangover from too much red stripe, Wesley Snipes' tax evasion catches up with him.
It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap.
It's a trap!
The final reveal of the Rastafari on Safari is shown in what can only be described as badass. Catching wind that there's an opening in the diversity quota now that Wesley Snipes has been bumped off, Lawrence Fishburne applies for membership. When one of the more thoughtful Rastafari feels that all Vladimir Putin needs is a pick-me-up. So appreciative of this courtesy, Comrade Wolf repays the kindness at long last releasing his inner child. Considering the FBI's most wanted's quick wit and smart mouth sees him almost run away with this whole damn movie, the Berserker Rasta decides to relieve him of both and remind everyone watching that it is indeed his damn movie. Scout Leader decides to cut a deal by cutting down hungover Rastafari in exchange for borrowing the car keys, promising to do a beer run for more Red Stripe back on Earth. Scout Leader, being the more even-tempered, especially considering Selma Hayek's fiery Latina temper, adjusts his previous proposal and, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, just buries the hatchet, Pilgrim style. And the two lived happily open-ended ending.
Finn.
And now the conclusion.
Hey kid, welcome to the war.
Lions. Tigers. The bears. Oh my.
Predator 2. He's in town with a few days to kill.
Ah, hell A. Nothing like cultural enrichment of a morning riot to cleanse the palate, or the ethnicity. We open on bandits giving cops their monthly sensitivity training. Hot tamale!
Yet another open conflict! Oh, get me out of here!
Reporting live for Black TV. White folks are dead. We're getting the fuck out of here. Let's roll, Jack. Fuck back to shit. Let's go, motherfucker.
Who the hell's in charge down here? The cops? They're outmanned, outgunned, and incompetent.
Waiting for backup.
It's here.
Danny Glover is on the scene and he ain't screwing around. I don't know what's more ballsy, suiting up a squad car with Kevlar, or that Danny Glover's trunk doubles as his precinct's weapons locker. John McClane, Danny Glover, actually rides into a shooting gallery, side saddle like a bouse.
Hey-ho, Silver, away!
When the banditos hightail it into a factory, the Popo are in hot pursuit. They suit up, set up shop, and lock and load to greet the Flatfoots with 50 caliber facials. The diversity hires take a breather and try a test batch of Hunter Biden's secret stash when the sexual predator himself gets a drop on them. Sorry ladies, wrong department. We were looking for drug lords and menswear. Anyone know I could pick up a pair of Jordans? I love how after 5 seconds of a man wildly shooting a pair of SMGs, one SWAT member is still caught off guard. Dollar Tree Danny Trejo feels he could use some air and heads up and out for a smoke, but instead has his ass blown away for good measure. Nice day for a picnic, wouldn't you say? Pass the chips. Harrigan's fear of heights apparently comes with a complimentary glaucoma chaser.
Must be the Jamaicans.
This time, but where the hell did they go? Okay, nobody gets in here until forensic arrives.
With what, a mop? How much more open and shut of a case can you get? Mass shooting, drug trafficking, and possible sale of quesadillas without a license. The big boss man chews out Glover, and up close, he looks like Two-Face with both sides of his face melded together. Back at police headquarters, we meet Gary Busey and his winning smile at the captain's office in the days before his mind sauntered off this mortal coil. Bill Paxton arrives on the scene to make his routine cinematic obituary. This is an action film, so it's only a matter of time until Billy Boy's number's up.
Take your pick, Billy Boy.
Everything from the sleazy reporter to the crime street alleys, from the gang wars to the penthouse suites, this feels like a fully realized city with an identity all its own. If I may take a moment, and of course I'm allowed to since I run the show, why the hell is it that unlike the vast majority of horror franchises, Predator ambitiously tries new things and its fan base hates it for that? The Booker T Battalion perform a B&E in the middle of a drug lord getting some TNA. However, even though this here shindig is by invitation only, we still got one party crasher to deal with. The Hunter Rastafari sees that their stash is too good to share, so instead opts to serve the Whoopi Goldberg fan club their own heads.
Stick around. Cool party.
When the coppers get the call, they ain't got no time for no blogger. Hey, trigger warning. The hanging bodies are great foreshadowing for the slaughterhouse scene later.
Look familiar?
Yes, this ritual skinning usually comes with a puzzle box. The feds catch up to the cops and Danny Glover gets the third degree by Gary Busey. And his teeth. Considering that the setting has shifted gears to the urban jungle, I like that, whereas the bureaucracy of the original was more of a backdrop, the politics take center stage in the sequel between the fuzz and the feds. The dichotomy of the law enforcement infighting is juxtaposed perfectly against the gang warfare staged by the criminal underground. I guess this film's got more going for it than people have historically given it credit for. While Bill Paxton reassures Glover that he'll be fine being he's just one day from retirement, Sergeant Dirty Sanchez returns to the scene of the crime to lift that toothpick he'd previously noticed until he's the one that's lifted. To death. You know, that's a rather paltry amount of DNA spilt. Awfully stingy with the bloodletting all of a sudden. Glover gets up close and pushy with Busey, unconvinced them pearly whites are natural, and leaves him with a tough guy one-liner fit for that action decade. Don't forget to floss. Snoop Dogg's entourage roll up offering a lift to get the detective high.
I got papers, blunts, bongs, all the ingredients to make a hot pie.
Harrigan's line of questioning is only outdone by the lines of powder King Willie was previously snorting, leaving him talking in riddles with chicken bones and cryptic warnings. What follows is one of the most badass scenes ever printed on celluloid. a little off the top? While Harrigan bids "ay caramba" to his fallen partner, he takes the time to pick out a plot for Bill Paxton, anticipating saving room on Headspace.
Oh, except for the one on the end. That's already taken. Sorry.
I can only imagine the collective relief that audiences unanimously sighed upon this child's life being spared. I like that this predator subtly toyed with his prey, leaving the necklace of Harrigan's murdered partner dangling like a carrot. Heading down to the subway gives Paxton and Selena a chance to take in some of that working class impression and Second Amendment expression. The predator bursts onto the scene in an uncharacteristically non-stealthy way.
Oh yeah!
While Selena evacuates the passengers, and most likely her bowels, over the invisible killing machine, Bill Paxton makes a last stand. He throws a golf ball, hoping it'll do the trick that the unloading of an entire clip from his sidearm didn't. You, sir, are no comic book guy. The Predator valiantly elects to overturn Roe v. Wade and instead to condemn Lupita Santamaria to 24 hours hard labor. The Predator feels it's about that time for Bill Paxton to be relieved of the weight on his shoulders. I'm of course referring to the man's own head. Predator makes haste, Harrigan gives chase. Mr. Glover, it's time for your close-up.
Cindy, your ass looks fat! Bitch! Yeah, shot.
The feds gently escort Glover to their base of exposition. Busey gives away the plot of the first Predator film without even giving Glover a single spoiler alert. Now that's diabolical, and bad manners. Nice fashion sense there, Cosmonaut. Did you pick that out of the Dr. Evil catalog? Their plan? To freeze-dry them a Rastafari, jack his gadgets, steal his stash, and raid his music collection of Calypso. Rasta's got more than one trick up his sleeve. He switches on dandruff mode and spots him some cosmonauts. Das Vidanya. The space campers take a defensive phalanx that protects them from all sides, except the one where they're most vulnerable. If the Rastafari wasn't sightseeing before, he certainly goes to town on the space campers, interrupting his steak dinner. A Rastafari blind firing a shoulder cannon has to be the equivalent of holding a gun sideways, all cool like. Danny Glover invites himself to the festivities, serving up justice with a side of grenade launcher and rice pudding, with the Rastafari having exhausted his ammunition and Danny Glover having unloaded his shotgun.
And then after that, guns Jamaican. Buckshot, buckshot, buckshot.
It might be prudent to stage the crime scene so it looks like the Rasta shot first.
Thanks, Joe.
Let's plant a knife on him just to be safe.
Yeah, good thinking.
Yeah, I know how these things go down.
Danny Glover can't help himself but peeks under the mask at the bad plastic surgery job of Charlotte Flair under the knife. Rastafari comes to and reminds Glover of the house rules. No guns at the dinner table. Gary Busey pops in and to start in on them fixins and leads the family in saying grace. With so much meat on the table, Busey scarcely knows where to begin to dig in. Fortunately for him, in the spirit of Thanksgiving, the hosting Rastafari serves him a plate! Murder discs, rocket fists, incubus. How is this not a classic? This gathering goes topside as the after party is on the rooftop. Nice night for a picnic. The Rastafari throws a Hail Mary that Danny Glover is easily able to intercept. So, despite a spear in hand and a gun at his side, Harrigan decides the best approach to confront the Rastafari while his back was turned was head on. With a bum rush. Off a rooftop. I'm afraid I'm going to have to call a flag on that play. Too many men on the field. 10-yard penalty. I'm afraid I'm going to have to call a flag on the play. Roughing the passer. Automatic first down. Well, desperate dismemberment calls for phosphorescent pharmaceuticals. He shoots himself up with enough predator-enhancing drugs he secretly hopes he won't blow out both quads. Witnessing the roid rage in progress, Danny Glover is in hot pursuit, wondering where he can get some of that home remedy. In California, you crash land on spaceship. After touring the Fog Bank and Trophy Collection, The Last Stand is in full swing and ain't nothing short of a slugfest. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind all the naysayers, Danny Glover did not defeat the Predator in a single showdown, but across multiple encounters, each taking a little bit out of the Predator each time. The lead poisoning from shotgun, subtraction of limb, and oh yeah, heartburn. Basically what I'm saying is that all the petty grievances you've clung to have been stone cold dead wrong for the entire 30-year breath that you've maintained them. Even when the hero has won, the villain vanquished, and the mighty Rasta fallen, the film still has one final kick-ass scene up its wrist gauntlet. The Rastafari posse surround Glover, but instead of sending the copper packing, collect their fallen homie and hand Harrigan a flintlock for his trouble. And he's given a silent countdown to reach minimal safe distance and get his black ass the heck out of Dodge before he's burnt like the blunts that the Rastas are on their way to smoke. Harrigan comes to and is covered in the ashes of all that weed the Rastas sparked up on their way out, and lives to Danny Glover another day.
Finn.
I once heard it said that the 80s were so unrelentingly badass that they didn't even end until 1993. This film undeniably makes that cut. Pun intended. The original Predator may have introduced the hunter and his home turf, but Predator 2 is the sequel that armed the lion with fangs and claws. This is the best arsenal the Predator has ever brought to bear. It expanded the portable hospital it's equipped with surgical precision, and upheld the code of honor during the thrill of the hunt. Standout scenes include the King Willie Alley encounter and the slaughterhouse. To me, Gary Busey and his teeth describe this movie perfectly. The Predator is drawn to heat and conflict, so a drug war between rival gangs with the police caught in the middle within an urban jungle is the perfect hunting ground and a suitable extension from the wild jungle. Maybe it's because of the fancy new toys or my nostalgia for watching this as part of WB's Saturday Night Movies as a kid, but this is my favorite Predator movie, and I can say that without taking anything away from the original. This is a thrill ride like none other, a welcome addition to this franchise, and a worthy successor to the original, and I will happily have words with any dissenting opinion. If you think your half-truths and your fanboy snobbery can throw down with the likes of me, well, come and get it! Incubus is ready!